Good morning and welcome to the sustainability track. Really great to see you all here. Thank you for joining us and wanted to start off the day. We have a long agenda for today. We have a number of sustainability presentations that will be carried out throughout the day. Your moderators for today will be myself, Priya Chhiba from Google, Alex Rakow from Schneider Electric, and Eva Klimek from Roxtec. So we'll be your hosts for today, running the presentations. First, before we get started, we wanted to run through our sustainability projects that we have. Currently within OCP, we have two projects. The first one is the top-level sustainability project. This was initiated when the team proposed the fifth tenet for OCP, which was the sustainability tenet. This tenet is meant to enforce sustainability within all the work streams within OCP. And it was started a couple of years ago. The project was initiated. The project is meant to set up some reporting targets, monitor and plan compliance and regulation adherence, and then share best practices through open sourcing, lessons learned, et cetera, between companies, and then also set the high-level sustainability KPIs. We have some technology-specific implementations of sustainability. Currently, the data center facility sustainability team is the only sub-working group within the OCP that has a separate sustainability track, but there's other tracks as well that could potentially fall under sustainability. That's the cooling environments, immersion cooling and cold plate cooling, and then heat reuse as well. So I'm going to hand over to Alex now to give an overview of the sustainability project. Alex?
Thank you, Priya, and good morning. So as Priya was saying, in 2022, sustainability was what's called inside OCP a strategic initiative. So we were sort of below the level of a named project. But sustainability was gaining importance and attention within OCP and within our industry. And so we started an effort, I'll try to avoid using the terms of art in OCP. We started an effort to make sustainability one of the named projects within OCP, and as Priya also referenced, to make it the fifth tenet of how OCP evaluates new projects and submissions. So we went through a process of sort of thinking through if we're going to use sustainability as a criterion or a set of criteria for evaluating submissions to OCP, how should we go about thinking about how we do that evaluation? What criteria should we include? And we wanted to be careful not to be too prescriptive. We didn't want to be telling submitters to OCP who are bringing new solutions, new products, you have to meet this level, your product has to contribute to this PUE or be this energy efficient. We wanted to make sure that it was broad enough to apply and be relevant to any solution, but also substantive enough to actually make a difference. So we came up with 3 pillars for how to do this evaluation. The first is that it needs to be meaningful. So we want all submissions to OCP to have a meaningful contribution to sustainability associated with them. So if you are reporting on your energy efficiency of your solution, but your energy efficiency is below an industry average, that's not a meaningful contribution. The second area of criteria is that it needs to be relevant. So we want to make sure that the sustainability attribute that you're reporting on as part of your submission is relevant to what you're submitting. So if you have a solid state storage solution and you're reporting on water use efficiency, that may not be relevant to exactly what you're submitting. It needs to be applicable to the solution that you're bringing forward. And then third, we want it to be data-driven. So once you've chosen a meaningful metric by which to measure sustainability, it's relevant to your solution, want to make sure that you're measuring that metric by some means and reporting on that as part of your submission. So meaningful, relevant, data-driven, this is what we're looking for in submissions to OCP to demonstrate contributions to sustainability. And this was sort of the foundation for establishing sustainability as a fifth tenet. So I want to talk a little bit about the work streams that we have going on under the Sustainability Project since it was established. Sustainability Project, since it became a named project in 2022, our monthly meetings are good opportunities for us to hear from solution providers from across the OCP community. So unlike maybe some other industry organization monthly meetings where we make plans to do work and come back and apologize to each other for not having done the work in between, each OCP sustainability project meeting is an opportunity for us to get a presentation from a colleague in the industry, and those colleagues need to be prepared to be grilled by the community that comes together for OCP sustainability, which is a lively one and a well-informed one. So we have some great conversations in those meetings, so I encourage everyone to join. We also do updates on our sub-work streams within the project, of which we have many at the moment. And the first of which we'll talk about in greater detail later in the day. I think at 9:45, we'll be back to talk in detail about this collaboration that was announced from the stage by George yesterday morning, which is a collaboration between our organization and the iMasons Climate Accord. And this sub-work stream is focused on creating some guidance around how vendors to the data center industry report on the embodied carbon of what they're selling into the industry, so that we as an industry can tackle Scope 3 and reduce it. The next sub-project is data center efficiency metrics. So we are just about 10 years into PUE. PUE has done us good. It has helped us to reduce a certain part of our energy consumption and improve energy efficiency. It's starting to level off PUE as an industry, so it's time for us to look at how we improve on the metrics we use to measure sustainability and expand on those metrics. PUE does not tell the whole story for data center sustainability. So we have a work stream led by Sammy from Intel, looking at how do we add contextual information around how we're measuring PUE to make sure that it's comparable one to the other, and what other metrics do we need to add to the mix to tell a fuller picture, including infrastructure utilization efficiency, water use efficiency, carbon utilization efficiency, and importantly, how do we measure each of those in a consistent way or calculate them in a mathematically consistent way? Two more, power telemetry. So we're talking about telemetry inside the data center here. How do we meter and measure power consumption at the component level within the data center to give us the intelligence we need to continue to maximize efficiency? Because even though PUE has leveled off and a lot of the low-hanging fruit in terms of data center efficiency has been plucked at this point, there is a lot more we can do to continue to hone the efficiency of how our data centers operate. The more information we have, the better we'll be able to do that. Carbon modeling. This is a good example of how one work stream is contributing to another. So we have the work stream that I just mentioned on carbon disclosure. This work stream on carbon modeling is getting into the nitty-gritty that's really outside of the purview of that collaboration with iMasons, to think about how do we model the embodied carbon of difficult to model equipment, mostly silicon equipment, so semiconductors. Do we need a new product category rule? Are we making sure that we're doing this in the most accurate and thorough way and not just taking precedent for granted? Carbon accounting for circularity. So another aspect of sustainability inside the data center, we want to make sure that we are thinking about the entire product life cycle when we're doing carbon accounting. And in particular, we're interested here, and this has been a sort of long-term interest of the Sustainability Project and a few folks on the project, including Ari Vanderhoven and J.M. Hans, on thinking about the storage in the data center and what we do with that at end of life. So 200 million storage devices are destroyed by our industry every year, and that's mostly out of a concern for data security. So we want to try to spread the word about what can be done to sanitize storage and then reuse it and recycle it rather than destroying it. And part of how we want to do that is to demonstrate what the carbon benefit is and try to issue some carbon credits for that. And I'm going to hurry up a little bit. So those are the work streams that are going on under our sustainability project. And with that, I will hand it over to you to talk about what's going on with sustainability at data center facilities.
Thank you, Alex, and good morning. So data center facilities sustainability, everybody can hear me okay? We are focused on decarbonizing all the non-IT equipment. So data center facilities is focusing on the data center outside of all the technology that goes into it. So more on the environmental factors and the impact it has on the whole sustainability of the data center. So when we started this work stream at the beginning of the year, we started 4 sub-project groups, and those sub-project groups are Heat, Water, Energy, led by Aaron Winhoff from Villanova University. Our metrics group is led by, I have to talk this way, Schneider Electric. Rob Bunger. Our construction emissions reduction is led by Stevie Lynn Bird, and then our director of evaporative cooling best practices, that's a new one that was just added by Sean Bartlett from Condair. So 3 presentations are coming up at the Global Summit. We're going to be presenting some white papers at that summit as well, if you're going to be there in the fall in Santa Clara. And then we also are collaborating with iMason's Climate Accord on their sustainability project in reference to carbon disclosure. So let me give you a little bit of an update on some of these subgroups. And these subgroups have been working hard for almost a year now. And they started off at the beginning of last year. The white papers are in progress to be delivered at the end of this year. So our metrics paper is meant to focus on more of the environmental aspects of the data center. It's not meant to encompass everything that goes into the data center. Some of the areas that we are focusing on, there's 5 areas. We have energy, greenhouse gas, carbon, water, waste circularity, and local ecosystems. There's 27 metrics in total. And we want to provide guidance on when we finalize the white paper, we want to provide guidance on tools to holistically improve the metrics for the data centers. So we do see maybe some future revisions in the future, but we do hope to have this white paper published and delivered at the Global Summit in the fall. Our next one would be heat, water, and energy. So this is meant to look at different tools that can be used when designing the data center, such as the heat reuse, economization, design aspects, and operational strategies or geographic location, and how the metrics move when all of these tools are used. So we're looking at carbon, energy, water, heat reuse, and we do hope to have that white paper to be delivered also at the summit in the fall. And then we want to, once all the white papers are finalized, we want to make sure that we're incorporating the metrics and the construction emission workstream into the white paper on future revisions, as well as provide tools to holistically improve the metrics. So providing guidance as people are looking at designing these data centers. Our construction emissions is currently looking at 2 most commonly found materials in building data centers. And we're looking at concrete and steel and their embodied carbon impact. So we discussed the best practices in designing and sourcing the low GWP materials here. That white paper is also on track to be delivered. And the next step would be to provide some guidance for life cycle assessments to make informed decisions on embodied carbon reduction for the future. So currently, that is on track for the fall summit. And then direct evaporative cooling. So this is a new one that was just started a few months ago, and it is meant to optimize power and water consumption and reduce carbon emissions using direct evaporative cooling systems. We're looking at design and operational best practices for that one, and since this was just started recently, we hope to have just the first draft of it to be reviewed by OCP by the fall. So hopefully next year we'll be able to see more of that. I'll hand it over to Priya now for the remainder here.
Yeah, thanks, Eva. So, up here you see a bunch of activities that we were busy with. We've presented at all of the summits since the project was initiated. And, looking forward to seeing what this team produces. So proud of the achievements to date, and, always looking for contributors as well. So if you are interested in joining us, joining any of the sub-tracks that we have, if you feel you can contribute, please sign up and contribute. Thank you.